What's up? It's your boy Carcino, man. And once again, it's about to get real. Real educational. Cause here it is. I'm a Illuminatus now. I work for them. They pay me. I'm a reptile. I've heard Kuncido. I've heard all these crazy adjectives to describe me. But I've given you nothing but the absolute truth, and you guys can't accept it because you like to believe in Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. So I won't ruin Christmas for you. If you want to believe in Santa and elves, go ahead, believe in Santa and elves. And wait for him to slide down your chimney. Now, you want to talk reality? Let's talk reality. Let's look into these celebrity breakdown cases. As we look at celebrity breakdowns. Or meltdowns, or whatever you want to call it. Let's start with Martin Lawrence. Martin Lawrence is a big star in Hollywood at the peak of his career before he is caught outside running with his shirt off with a pistol in his hand. Had he been any other black man, he'd been shot dead on the streets. They were pleading not to kill Martin Lawrence. Once he was identified as Martin Lawrence, the order was in not to shoot this man. People speculated they're trying to kill Martin. It's the Illuminati. They are out to get Martin Lawrence. Martin Lawrence was running. What did they do to him to make him run down the street naked with a gun in his hand? Martin Lawrence told you himself. He was high. He was high and claimed the weed man laced his normal weed and replaced it with some ooh-wee, which is nothing but weed and PCP. For those who don't know, that's what happened. And on top of that, you're dealing with a situation where Martin Lawrence had, at this time, this is the first major incident with Martin Lawrence. So no one really even knew, like, wow, it had gotten to this level. But other people have seen outbursts from him before, like on the set of Martin, the TV show. Now, let's move on. We got Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey, one of the biggest R&B artists of all time. Pop sensation. Had nothing but number one hits after number one hits. Puts out a song, Loverboy. And when Loverboy comes out in July of 2001, everybody's like, ha ha ha. Because Mariah was gone for a bit, and while she was gone, there was the surging of the little teen pop stars. Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, the Justin Timberlake, and NSYNC. All these new faces started to pop up. So she was looked at as old news. So Mariah didn't want to be looked at as old news. She needed to stay relevant. After a string of number one hits after number one hits, Loverboy was the only song that really didn't do anything. And it was the first song from her motion picture Glitter off the soundtrack. Now, the song is not getting a lot of spins. It's not really a hot song. But this is the first time she doesn't have a number one. So she's panicking. She flies to Europe, does a little tour there, promotional tour in Europe, flies back. She's not sleeping. Did another promo for the song Loverboy because she wants to see it get some spins. And when she comes back to the States, it's still not getting any spins. Like, nobody's feeling the song. They made a video for it. Then they had to make another video with Jay-Z in 2 weeks when he became available. The song was just a waste of time, energy, and money for them to put on. It wasn't resonating with the public. It was a song that was decent, but not something you're going to pay attention to now with all these new teen pop stars coming out. So she felt, I need some new appeal. Let me go on TRL. So she goes on TRL to try to stay with the young audience, the teens. Shows up basically unannounced. It wasn't, Carson Daly wasn't informed. Mariah Carey was there. She came there with some ice cream, giving ice cream to all the fans. And she's got a shirt for Carson. She takes it off. And she's like, here it is, Loverboy. Like, we might start a string of these shirts. You know, and Carson Daly is just like trying to freestyle everything. So he's like, she's just not making sense. While she's talking, she's not making sense. I understand it because that's complete exhaustion and dehydration. Sometimes people don't understand, and when you working at something really hard, time just flies. And you're just busy working. You don't have time to really, you forget to stop and go have a drink of water. Stop to rest. Like get a couple of hours of sleep or anything. So you're going at it hard. Like you might have been 48 hours strong. So sleep deprivation is really hitting home. And when it's hitting home, you are one of the last people to really notice it. Sometimes you can notice that your voice is slurring. Like on some of the videos I had done, I was like half asleep, half awake, making these videos. So after this, she goes and do another promo where she's like, well, I'm doing this. She sounds pretty much incoherent, snappy, and trying to explain too much. And then because the backlash was Mariah Carey was out of her mind and losing it on TRL, and everybody was, it's the Illuminati. They were out there, Mariah Carey, and they drugged her, and she's going crazy. And she had a breakdown at her mom's house. She went to her mom's house, and then from that day, she went straight to a clinic. Sounds very familiar, right? Went to a clinic for mental health and dehydration. That's all it was. Now, you get stressed out. They put you in this place to get you back to normal. The movie and soundtrack aired on September 10th. We all know what happened on September 11th. So, with that being said, that's what happened there. And it started a spiral of her trying to get back to number one. But it had nothing to do with the Illuminati. She was tired and overworked. Dave Chappelle. I'm Rick James, bitch. Yes, David Chappelle. Him. Dave Chappelle. Conspiracy brother. That is what they named him, an undercover brother, because that is exactly what David Chappelle is. Dave Chappelle has always been there out to get me. I'm very careful about everything and everybody. Dave Chappelle is not a racist. He's a person that points at racist things. He dates an Asian woman, married to an Asian woman. But Dave Chappelle is 100% gonna tell you what's wrong with the world racially, and make fun of it, and make you laugh at even yourself, even if he's talking about you. Great comedian, great at sketch comedy. All of his jokes are layered out. You know, there's no setup punchlines. It's like true stories that are just funny. And his delivery is what makes it great. Now, Dave Chappelle has a sketch comedy show Now, this is different from stand-up. This is sketch comedy. Shows got to be done every week. And now that the show got to be done every week, we already know what the expectations are. And here's the thing. Every year the show is over, the networks are pushing for more raunchier, more edgy comedy that worked and was successful. The networks, of course, want to keep that element going. They want to keep that ball of success rolling. They love it. We need to keep that moving. That's what they're going to say. And Dave Chappelle is like reluctant to want to do that. That's not why he got into this game. He wanted to be creative, and most of the things they came up with on the fly at the airport, and just at last minute, and all these deadlines, and we need a deadline by this. It's stressful. Dave Chappelle cannot handle stressful situations. He's not good for these type of moments. He doesn't like pressure. When the pressure is too hot and too thick, Dave's gonna fold. Every time. He's gonna come up with reasons not to do things. Because it's really him not being able to deal with pressure. And people were pressing the people that he trusted to go ahead and do this thing. He felt they were pressuring him to do it. Like, y'all pressuring me to do it, and you working with them. You're not my friend. You're not. I'm going to Africa. He didn't even tell his wife where he was going. He just got up and went to Africa so he can go someplace and clear his mind. Dave Chappelle could not handle the pressure of the business. Being number one. Some guys are comfortable with just having limited success and being where they are. Dave Chappelle could have been come back somewhere else and been had another deal. There have been offers for Dave Chappelle to do other deals, other contracts. Dave Chappelle has turned them down to do stand-up and stay on the low radar and do all this stuff. Dave wanted to do that. Dave wasn't blackballed. People want to see Dave Chappelle. You see Saturday Night Live? And people want to see Dave Chappelle. Dave have to get back to a point where he's comfortable. He wants to work on his pace. He don't like to be rushed. That had nothing to do with the Illuminati. Nothing to do with no blood sacrifices and all this craziness. And then you get Kanye West. Kanye's upset because he wants to work with Drake and Jay-Z won't allow him. So he's mad. So he's acting out like a child. And now he's lashing out at everybody. Now he's got a mental problem. Now he's having outbursts and he's stressed. He's dehydrated from tour. So now he's in the hospital and they canceled the tour from him. And then now he's in the hospital the same day they canceled the tour. I can't write this. But then I gotta read stupid stuff on the internet. He sacrificed his mom to the Illuminati for money. It's amazing. You guys won't pick up a book to save your life. But if somebody say a celebrity in the Illuminati, you guys bite on that and chew on it and eat it up. It is the most retardedest thing I've ever seen in my life. They cloned Gucci Mane. So the free world, the government, all the money we got in the world, why would they need to clone Gucci Mane? Gucci Mane's doing exactly what they would want him to do. So why in the world would they worried about cloning him? They already got 1,000 Gucci clones already walking around in Atlanta. Why would they need to clone Gucci Mane? You see, you people don't realize how stupid what you're saying is because you're probably on syrup and all this other codeine and pills and mollies. Whoever knows what's in Molly. You guys' brains are gone, so you don't get it. But to the non-drug using America, we realize how stupid that is because we realize how big the world really is. It's like that person that can't see past their block. You can't see past your own block. You know, like, man, I think the government after Tony Tulu. Tony Tulo? Yeah, Tony Tulu, man. Yeah, after Tony Tulu, man. What was that? Tony Tulu, man. He a beast on my block. So, there it is. Tony Tulu, who probably have one case by the cops and think the feds and ICE agents are coming to get him because he done sold a couple of bags. You know, but to you, they hood stars. You know, the world is after them. But this is where your focus is. Meanwhile, you're totally oblivious to what's really going on in the world as you talk about secret societies. You're trying to protect them and act like they are not out there. They've always been there. But what is the secret society? Okay, what is that going to do for you? There are secret societies out there. You will never see the face of these people. You will never know their names. I know where they live. They're in Switzerland. But anyway, they run this entire world. They meet with all the world leaders, not the president, not him, but the world leaders. Not the puppets. The world leaders meet over there. And they decide on what their plans are, what they're going to do. And it's done. Y'all don't even realize how deep the rabbit hole really falls. As black people, or people of color, do you realize since 1860, we were responsible for 1% of the nation's wealth? And here in 2016, we are responsible for 1% of the nation's wealth. So basically, you have not made any progress. If you're African American male, you have not made a lick of progress since 1860. In 1960, let's go back to 1960s, the civil rights movement, what we were fighting for, the pay wage gap was not that far off from whites, from blacks. 2016, it's incredibly large. Sometimes it's 3 times the amount. Whites are getting paid over blacks. It's the worst it's ever been in this country's history. For the same pay, same wages, everything. But you're not paying attention. Unemployment rate, they say, is 5%. Right? That's wrong. It's 5% if you're unemployed and you went down to apply for a job at the credit office to get your unemployment, to get your check. Those people are registered to where they say they are unemployed, which means you had a job before. They don't account for people who are not working, who never had a job, or those who didn't go down there to the aid office. Now, you look at African American unemployment rate nationwide is at 34%. When this country was in the Great Depression, it was at 25%. Blacks are at 34%. It's not even mentioned. It's not even mentioned. In Detroit, it's 46%. In Louisiana, New Orleans, it is 76%. 76%. That means 76% of blacks in New Orleans are not getting a dime, are completely registering zero. That's scary. That's greater than any other city in this nation. Even Chicago. That's alarming. And it's getting worse. Because they're going to start cutting financial aid. They're going to cut corners. Don't you get it? You guys are focused on the wrong things. Your mind is focused on stupidity instead of reality. The things I'm telling you, you should already know it. It's right in front of your face. You see it every day. We tell them time and time again, you're not going to survive if you're thinking, let me get a job and work it till I die. If you got that mentality, let me work till I can retire, have enough pension when I'm 65 and 66, if I make it to 66, because our rate is 55 lifespan. If you make it to 66 and retire, and you're fortunate enough to make it that far, and you're able to retire, I'll tell you one thing, if you make it that way, you want to start living your life at 70? That's pathetic. That's not progress. You've digressed. You have to get smart. See what's happening around the world. I saw it happening right in front of my face. I didn't know what to do. There was no Facebook. This was 2005. There was no Facebook. I just bought a laptop from Circuit City. Circuit City doesn't even exist anymore. I was one of the last people to buy a laptop at that location because they were closing down. Blockbuster Videos had the biggest staple ever, closing down. All the auto shops closing down in Detroit. All the car companies couldn't get bailed out. General Motors is folding. U.S. Steel closing their doors. 30,000 out of jobs. 10,000. 15,000 out of work. If people can't work, how are they going to pay their mortgage? If people can't pay their mortgage, they're going to be out on the streets. If they're out on the streets, people are going to die. People are going to kill to eat. People are going to rob, steal, do whatever they can. You got girls out here that's selling their bodies and got jobs. But it's not enough. Back when I was growing up, if you had one job, you can get an apartment. What I'm doing now is a very unknown thing. To be a single man with a 3-bedroom townhouse by himself. I'm probably the only person in this area who has this by himself and can afford it. People can't even afford a studio apartment by themselves. They're barely making the rent with a studio off one job. You have to have multiple revenue streams. And people say technology is not designed for us. It's not. Nothing is designed for us. Think the Constitution was made with us in mind? Nothing was made in this nation for us in mind. But they want you to fear technology. Because technology is going to take your place. Of course, it's taking all the jobs. So you got to get involved in tech. You have to have something going on with the internet because that's what's going to create the jobs. Look at Google. Google's making $1 billion. It's just a company full of servers with a bunch of tech people. They're not really creating anything. They're creating things that's putting people out of work. The ComEd place, they used to have a guy to come out and check the meter. Now they got a digital meter that checks the temperature itself, so it already checks it. So now the guy that gets paid for coming out and checking the meters, he don't have a job no more. His job's gone. But see, this is a difficulty for us as black people and people of color. This is a difficulty for us because we're the ones that have to take the blunt of this. Because believe me, the white/Caucasians, they take care of their own. They circle the wagons. They make sure John's going to have a job. Mr. Braithwaite, yes, he's got a job. He's going to have a job. You know what job he's going to have? The job you used to have. They're going to say, sorry, we had to make cutbacks. And they're like, well, who's going to do my job? Oh, we're going to take the guy that used to be ahead of you at this other title, even though you do more work than him. Now he's just going to have to do your job. But we're keeping him. And that's how they work. They circle the wagons. Whenever white people lose jobs, black people are going to lose more jobs. For every one white person that loses a job, that's about 2 to 3 black people out of work. They will circle the wagons when it is time to take care of their own. They invented nepotism. This is the way it works. They have made a plan to keep you in the same area from wealth, and people don't understand it. They're like, why haven't we progressed to get wealth? Because they have you all confused and fighting over issues of diversity and equalities, and they don't preach that to nobody else. You think the Italians out here fighting for equality? Do you think the Polish people fighting for equality? You think the Mexicans are fighting for equality? Well, we already know the Caucasians ain't fighting for equality. But with the blacks, we want our equal share of, we want equality. We want diversity. We want everybody to be together. We're preaching diversity. They want us to focus on that. We can't focus on us and what's best for us. We can't do that. Oh no, that's reverse racism. What in the world is that? Reverse racism means that there isn't racism. So what? No, that was just such a dumb thing for people to say. But isn't it weird that anybody else from any other country can come over here and start a business and you can't, and you've been here before any of one of them? And it's funny because they come in through the door as minorities. They even get your title. And these minorities just came over. A minority, he'd get the same rights, everything as you, and have more of an advantage than you. Somebody from China come over here, and they get a business. The Indians come over here and get a business. They have a system that they do. Because I have Indian friends. I think I probably told you this before. What they would do Like my friend, he owns his cousins own gas stations. They're Hindu, Indian. They own the gas stations and they own Dunkin' Donuts. Now, they have a chain of Dunkin' Donuts, my friend father does. And when it's their time, they save their money up and they send for their family member to come over. There's one family member that would come over that they're responsible for. What happens, they put them to work, they let them live in their house. They the government pays them money to come over. They get a grant, some type of grant money they get when they come over. They're working at the restaurant. All their money goes right back into the bank. They save every dime. They're eating for free. They're not being charged rent. It's all on the family to take care of this person. And what he's doing is he's learning the business from the owner, who's his family member. He goes to business college where he gets a business degree in like 2 years. After 2 years is up, he should have saved enough money to apply to get his loan to get it and open up his own Dunkin' Donuts. Once that Dunkin' Donuts is rolling, it's now that person's turn to do that for the next person. He must do what the other family member just did for him. He has to do it for the next family member that's coming over. That is their cycle of success. For the gas stations, same thing. They say, look, have to save 20, 30,000. I don't care if you work 2-3 jobs, save it up. You get this lot, you own your own gas station, you'll recoup this money, and you'll be able to have money all the way down. You'll be able to save the money. And they have this understanding because they come from nothing. Where they come from, it's a lot worse than what we call nothing. So they understand the value of save $1. We got to put this money up. We got to put this money up. But for us, we're distracted with Jordans and gym shoes and how many points Steph Curry got. We're distracted by these things. And we think as soon as we get money, it's like it's got an expiration date. We have to spend it right away. As soon as we get it, money got to go. What am I saving for? You only live once. People tell you that. Instead of thinking, how can I turn this money into more money? Legally. You see, what people don't get is that the death trap is prison. See, that's the surefire system. And that is the economic prison system. That's why they're able to keep prisons afloat. And that's why the major prisons are in these small populated towns. It's because of the fact that they can control everything and every aspect of these prisons. They will have you work for free labor. They will have you just got room and board. It's basically slavery. They tell you what time to go to bed. They beat you if you get out of line. And you're in prison. You're treated like an animal in there. You have no rights. And that's where you left off. Now you got a decision to make. The internet is full of more stuff than just World Star Hip Hop and DJ Vlad and DJ Gymnastics. I mean, no offense to any of those guys. They are all great at what they do. But there's more on the internet. Read books. Decide what you want to do in this world. Learn it. Master it. Learn how to open different revenue streams for yourself. Get involved on the internet or tech world, technology, because it's going to lead you to an avenue to where you can create money for yourself. Because if you don't get on board now and thinking, I'm going to go to school, I'm going to get my degree, you're going to come out and realize you wasted all that time. Because your degree is going to mean diddly squat when you don't have a job. Okay, not everybody can be nurses and teachers. Okay, we got plenty of strippers, nurses, and teachers. We need astrophysicists. We need lawyers. We need doctors. Quit taking the easy route. If you're going to go in for a profession of medicalness, we got enough medical assistants, okay? Do something for real. Don't just walk away because you think it's challenging and that's too much. Well, what life do you want to live? Because if you got kids, you know what you should be living for. You're living for them. It's not even about you the moment they came into this world. So you got to make the sacrifice for them. So you just going to just go halfway? People don't know what I went through. I've had my job, everything snatched from me. I was one of the ones that was caught in the economic cutbacks, where black middle income families got reduced from a $44,000 a year per person in the household, got reduced down to $22,000 a year. $22,000 a year. You expect, and that's per person. So you expect them to pay those bills, making $88,000 as a middle income family with two combined incomes of $88,000 a year. They're paying their bills, everything's fine. Now they got to try to pay those same bills, making like $48,000 combined. That's going to be tight. That's too tight for anybody. That's defaulting on loans. That's behind on loans. That's car notes not being paid. Now people got to move and foreclose on houses. And when it start happening to white people, what do you think happened to those other people in their positions, in those jobs? Oh, it was non-existent. Because those jobs and that money that they freed up went to keep the Caucasians right where they were. When they lose, you lose. Because they'll take from you to keep theirs. So get smart so that they can't take from you. And now, see if the Illuminati got me to say that. I'm out.